What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 ways to annoy British people. My master plan is finally coming to fruition. I will become the most annoying American in existence. But seriously, the topic of today's video seemed just so funny and honestly interesting to me. I mean, the top ways to annoy British people in particular, it just makes me wonder, I guess, does annoyance know any cultural boundaries? Do things that annoy British people, are those different than the things that annoy Americans as well? I don't know, but this has kind of got me thinking about it. I mean, I guess I'll say in general, I think Americans, as a culture, like, we're pretty annoying, like, to each other. We're not the most polite that we could possibly be, especially compared to some other countries out there. We're not the most polite or respectful. So I feel like maybe that has raised our tolerance level for annoyance. We all just kind of put up with each other's annoying stuff, but we like to complain every now and then as well. Maybe a little more often than now and then. But anyway, today I want to learn about what are these things, these ways, the top ways to annoy British people, and I swear I will use these ways to annoy British people for good, for the good of mankind, I swear. So let's take a look.
Number 10, public complaining.
Huh.
When things go wrong, it's fine to feel miffed, but that's as far as it should go.
Huh. Wow. You can read into this really deeply or not. Like, is this a cultural thing off the bat? Brits do not appreciate public complaining. Whereas I feel like Americans are very, very quick, very apt to just get on the complain train. Just start the complaining. So I actually think this is probably more annoying to Brits because I feel like Brits are maybe a little more composed more often. So it's a bit more, it sticks out a bit more when it happens.
Because the sound of someone actually complaining is always worse than whatever the problem is.
Right.
Come on, stop whining.
If a restaurant's food isn't to your taste, just ignore your disappointment and eat it anyway.
Oh, wow.
If you're late...
I mean, yeah, that's a good example. Like, if an American... I've been with so many people. If their dinner is not, like, cooked the right way, or one little thing is wrong about their meal, like, there are definitely Americans who are like, I'm going to talk to the waiter, I am going to get my money back, or I'm going to get this returned. I don't care if I'm bugging the chef, make them do it over. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, our tolerance level for the most minor inconveniences is not very high.
for work because the trains are delayed, then simple, subtle sarcasm is more than sufficient.
Is that what Brits do? Brits just have a better way of coping with it, with like a little British humor, little subtle sarcasm. Maybe Brits just, they get annoyed at the same kind of stuff, but have better coping mechanisms.
No one likes a smart ass, even when they're right.
Yeah.
So don't be that guy.
Okay.
Shut your mouth.
Number 9, pub etiquette.
Pub etiquette. Oh, fascinating. So this is like very, very British. There are not pubs in the United States. Like there's wannabe pubs, like Irish stuff that calls themselves Irish pubs and whatnot, knockoffs of actual pubs. But we have bars in America, so this is interesting. This is just a British thing.
Despite our reputation, we Brits aren't all pub-obsessed alcoholics.
Okay.
But if you are settled in for a shandy or two, then please God pay your way.
Whiskey?
Not buying a round is an obvious no-no, but expecting your mate to shell out on something expensive when everyone else is on affordable ales is also out of bounds.
Ah, interesting. Different types of pub etiquette. I've learned a little bit about the pubs in my YouTube adventure. It's all about the pub etiquette, what you do in these pubs, what goes on there. They actually sound super nice, honestly, from what I've learned. And this doesn't surprise me. There's etiquette, especially with the whole buying rounds thing. Don't take advantage of your friend's money. That's just good advice no matter what. Don't take advantage of the generous sort of communal round buying thing that happens at pubs. That's what I'm getting here.
We'll do it, but we're not happy about it. Only you won't know we're annoyed because we won't complain about it,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
And if you are at the bar, then no blatant queue jumping. Some stereotypes exist for a reason.
Right.
Cheers.
No queue jumping. These are good. These are good things to know. I mean, the narrator is not specifically calling out Americans, but this sounds like just a list of stuff Americans would do. Jump the line, jump the queue.
Number 8, small talk.
Did you watch on telly last night?
I didn't watch telly, I watched
Small
a video.
talk.
Watch that peak practice.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, small talk. Okay, this is the first one I can definitively say. Like, Americans don't like small talk, but we do it! We're so guilty of this. Do Brits do this? Americans are so guilty of small talk.
In a lift, at a bus stop, on the underground, small talk doesn't exactly annoy British people, but it does bring some out in a very cold sweat. We may have spent centuries developing the English language, but we're typically terrible at applying it whenever someone simply asks us how we are.
The dreaded "how's it going? How are you?" while you're waiting for the elevator or the bus. Thank goodness we live in the era of cell phones. You can look at your phone do God knows what, but it will make it look like you're busy. Put in your headphones. People just leave you alone and no one feels awkward. It's kind of sad that this is there's a whole strategy behind getting away from the small talk.
Station starters to probably avoid include Brexit, the Premier League, and asking us whether we know the Queen. We more than probably don't.
Get her out of here.
Number 7, American English.
Ooh.
Not only is this man a non-member, he is also an American.
Oh, the ultimate sin. He's an American. American English. So does this mean using American words and phrases, American slang, stuff like that?
Any Brit with a computer knows the niggly annoyance of that squiggly red line underlying the word colour because you spell it with a U.
Ah, and the spellings. The American spellings, right. We speak the same language, English, yet there's so many little differences between British and American English. It's actually kind of fascinating. I could see where it could be annoying to Brits, but honestly, Americans get so little exposure to culture outside of America that when we do interact with like a different spelling, like a British spelling or a British word, we're not annoyed. We're just like so curious, like, whoa, look at how they spelled color. Oh my gosh. Like, it's like some miraculous event, like, I learned about the world today.
Yes, you can change your settings, but that doesn't excuse stateside spelling for wrecking the word in the first place.
Okay.
Got a problem with that?
Okay. Fair enough.
The development and fluidity of language is clearly a good thing, helping us to express ourselves with ever-increasing variety and vivacity, but how and why has anything been improved by the misguided mangling of the word football? The focus on...
Oh no. We're still not forgiven for the invention of the word soccer, I'm guessing. Yeah, oh, I could see that one. Oh my gosh, you would stick out like a sore thumb if you said soccer in Britain, wouldn't you? Man. I guess, hopefully a little understanding happens when American tourists bring our Americanisms to Britain, but for the most part, it would be good if Americans, were a little more conscious of other cultures, and that when we're in Britain, we use the British spellings and the British words and all that. I get it.
on feet is kinda key. Number 6, imitating the accent.
Oh, wow. This is a good one. This is a good one. This should have been number 1, I feel like. I feel like this must annoy... as an American, think this must annoy Brits to no end. The American interpretation of the British accent. Hello, how are you doing today? Blimey, it annoys me too. I feel like we all think it's funny when we're little children, and then some Americans just never grow up and do that.
All right, ladies and gents,
Yep.
comical poem, suitable for the occasion.
There you
Because
go.
there's-
Dick Van Dyke, exactly. That's the school of American bad British accents.
Way more to it than just posh and cockney.
Got
Yeah.
Cockney neck. I've been speaking too much Cockney, and it's done my blooming neck in.
But thanks to shows like Downton Abbey and The Crown, half of the world seems to think it necessary to roll out their best Queen's English as if it'll impress us.
Spankers and mash, sir. Bubbles and squeak. Smoked eel pie, sir. Haggis! That's it!
But news
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Most Americans, I'm guilty of this too, forget that there are so many different British accents, yet we all default to like this, I think it's got Cockney accent, or like a super duper posh formal British accent. Like there's only two. We like tend to go towards the extremes of British accents for some reason. Just like the American, that actually doesn't surprise me too much. That actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah, just knowing that there's so much more diversity of accents, like Americans totally do not realize that.
flash, it doesn't. It's just annoying. Same goes for the constant cringy attempts at a London accent, which somehow blend Dick Van Dyke with Popeye.
What he's famous for is
Oh.
punctuality. The whole world takes its time from Greenwich.
Oh,
but
no.
Greenwich, they say, takes its time.
Please stop. It hurts our ears.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine what this sounds like to a Brit. Like, I'm trying to imagine hearing an American accent that's like so extreme or exaggerated or just not correct, but trying to be an American accent. I can't even picture it. It's like, this is such a British problem that you have with Americans.
Number 5, moaning about the menu.
Oh,
Waldorf.
South. Well, I think we're just out of Waldorf.
Sure, we're not exactly Italy when it comes to cuisine, but the go-to branding of British food as bland is getting pretty boring now.
oh.
Most critics accept
Oh, so this is saying a lot of people think British menus are boring? I guess it just would depend on where you go, honestly. But I do think Americans are pretty quick to get annoyed at menus. That's a bit specific, but yeah, I don't know if that's an American thing, though.
that throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s, UK dishes left a little to be desired, but it's all changed in recent times, and today's
Okay.
food and drink options are extensive and actually quite exciting.
Right.
Anyone who says otherwise has either never been here, or they've never had a proper Yorkshire pudding.
That beautiful little
The Yorkshire pudding. Yeah, I've never thought the British food options was like boring or small. Maybe that's like a sort of a past thing? And anyway, that'd be just like rude to, I don't know, complain about a culture's food like in that way as well. So either way, it's rude.
thing that you can put gravy in.
Number 4, keep calm posters.
Oh my gosh, yes. Wow, that's very specific. Yeah. Oh my gosh, these took over the world. This is so specific. I've never agreed with something so quickly that was so specific. Keep calm and blank. Those were everywhere. For years. Oh my gosh, I had forgotten about that. I'd finally forgotten about that, and this video reminds me of it. I'm already annoyed. I'm already on my way to becoming British. I'm annoyed by the keep calm posters. Yeah, that was way overdone.
A
Oh my
Second World
gosh.
War slogan turned into a mid-noughties fashion statement. The keep calm craze has gone global, and don't we know it?
Yeah.
The poster's prolific overuse in popular culture and worldwide tourism has spawned t-shirts, tea towels, mugs, magnets, slippers,
Yeah.
snow globes, biscuit tins, and boxer shorts.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this was everywhere. How old is this video? This video's like 5 years old. Yeah, that is right. Oh man, prime keep calm era. Oh.
All emblazoned with an increasingly insipid instruction to keep calm and do something.
Yeah.
How about keep calm and stop buying this rubbish?
So much for classic army technique.
Number 3, the identity crisis. The UK. It's 4 countries under one collective name.
Yeah.
Sounds simple,
Yeah.
but it often isn't.
Oh.
Want proof of the national pride that pings from border to border? Try telling a Scot they're English, and prepare for a patriotic protest.
Yeah, oh my gosh. This is a good one too. I like this one as well. This is a huge one for Americans. Like 99% of Americans don't know what the difference between the UK, Great Britain, and England are. There's no difference. Americans have no idea. We were never taught this in school, that there's a difference. I mean, between the UK and Britain, but then there's Americans out here thinking England is Britain, which would be like calling Scotland and Wales English, like the narrator's saying. It's disrespectful and probably the most common, widespread problem, misnomer in all of American culture that has to do with Britain. That's number one, I think.
Lots of us identify as British, but it's not for everyone, and the many mini rivalries are part of what makes us great. Of course, we're often united as British,
right,
as in the Olympic Games, but what the UK definitely isn't is Australia. Why does everybody keep making that mistake?
Are people confusing Britain with Australia? Huh? That's not really an American thing. That's weird to me.
Looking at me, man. Now you're just being rude.
Number 2, public praise.
Oh.
A pinch of praise is always appreciated, but too much of it makes us awkward.
Okay, wow, this is kind of like a humble thing. Like, you're getting embarrassed when you're praised too much. This is kind of a nice, very, very humble sort of... Americans don't have this problem at all. This won't annoy us. Go ahead and praise us non-stop in public. We won't stop you. This is nice. This is a nice, polite British sort of thing.
Reactions range from the graciously accepting a compliment, but risking insincerity and smugness, to quietly ignoring your plaudits, but somehow seeming aloof and arrogant.
I hope it doesn't sound arrogant when I say that I am the greatest man in the world.
The humble middle ground.
There's British strategies to how to be humble about things. That's very cool.
Is always hard to hit. Just rewatch awards acceptance speeches by British actors if you don't believe us. Kind words and good deeds are all grand. Just let's not make a song and dance about it, shall we?
Yeah, I like that. That's a very nice thing about British culture. Very humble, respectful. Even when being awarded and praised, it's like, no, not too much. That'll make me a little uncomfortable. That's a healthy level of, like, humbleness.
Number 1, is that near London?
Oh! Yes! Oh my gosh, as an American, I can't relate to this too much. I've never even heard what's the American equivalent. Like, is that by New York? You don't really hear that. It's just like, Americans, like, for sure, are very guilty of thinking, there's only one place in all of Britain, and it's London. That's it. That's all that exists. Just London. So whenever we're like, something exists outside of that, well, it must be near London. Is that near London? Like, I can totally see that.
Okay, we get it. Britain's not as big as America, but that doesn't mean that London is all there is.
Right.
Sure, it's a cracking city, but if you live in the Scottish Highlands, for example, you might never have been.
Right.
So when non-Brits seem confused when they ask you where you're from, and you say something other than the L word, it is pretty irritating. The Lake District...
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so many places. So many fascinating places in Britain. Like, yeah, compared to the United States, it's honestly shockingly small. I will agree with that. Like, it's easier to drive all over places in Britain. You can see a lot more stuff in a shorter amount of time, but that doesn't mean that it's all London or that everything is near London. It's just like, again, Americans, we don't travel outside the United States very much. We don't know much about other cultures, but we've all heard of London. And so the London is just the center of the British universe to us.
It isn't some London suburb, you know. The Brecon Beacons are worlds away from Leicester Square, and Cornwall is very far from Whitehall.
Yeah, okay.
Do you agree with our picks?
Yeah.
Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK.
Okay, yeah, I totally get it. I get it. These were annoying. This was by Watch Mojo UK, and I liked it. I gotta give that a like. This is a good list. Like, even though I am not British, I could understand all of these, and you know, these are varying degrees of annoyance. And some of these I thought were just outright rude. Like, what do we have? Public complaining, pub etiquette, that's bad. The American English, that's not so bad. Complaining about British menu, keep calm. Yeah, that is. Poof. Americans imitating the British accent. Oh my gosh, that's rude. I would say, especially in front of British people. Americans not knowing the difference between the UK, Britain, and England. That's rude. I'll say it. Yeah, and thinking London. Oh, only London is Britain is just London. Yeah, okay. These are annoying. I get it. Top 10 ways to annoy British people. Now I know. I swear I'll use this information for good, but honestly, joking aside, I absolutely get it. And honestly, these were really interesting, and funny enough, I think Americans are guilty of doing most of these. So that's not a good sign. But this was also very entertaining, I gotta admit. So I enjoyed it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture, stuff about Britain that I have never learned before or seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.